John, you're on the air.
Okay, thank you. I'm glad to say that I can say that I feel that both of the gentlemen are mostly right. However, I see the Constitution in the phrase, we the people, as a contract between the people of the United States, and that the ultimate responsibility lies with us, and our apathy in allowing the courts and administrations and other functions to abuse that contract between us with somewhat totally incoherent approaches to a subject which clash with each other totally diametrically, where they will take one phrase that says, Congress shall not pass, and interpret it to mean that no one can do anything in this area, and yet take another phrase that states definitely, shall not be infringed, and yet allow the legislatures, the states, the cities, the counties, anyone to put limits on.
Okay, I thank you for your call, John. What about the issue of public apathy? What about the fact
Well, it's interesting. I agree with this gentleman on both counts. His points are two. One's public apathy, and the other is the peculiar, what I would call doublespeak of the present administration. It's interesting. We trembled for a full 2-3 decades of Orwell's 1984, and I think the absolute, Howard would say, insult to injury is that 84 actually arrived in the presence of this administration, which has come up with sort of a doublespeak or misspeak, which we've never seen before. I think that, to a large part, the highest accolade in reducing public apathy, which I think is epidemic at this point, is people who do work like yourselves, like the Donahues, like the Winfreys, like the Bryant Gumballs. I think that this kind of electronic media is sort of the town meeting of the 21st century. It's sort of the hanging out in front of the old general store in which ideas can be both proposed and examined. I think that's very important. I would basically see the responsibility be primarily the citizens. I think that if you have a Nazi Germany, yes, you can blame Hitler, but before that you have to blame a lot of Germans, you have to blame a lot of people who saw him go by and did nothing.
And Dean Bennett, you were going to take him to task a minute ago in terms of the administration vis-a-vis the Constitution, but let me ask you something that may not be accurate, and you'll correct me. When there are vacancies in the Supreme Court that interprets that Constitution, is it not the regime at hand, the current administration, that will place a jurist that has a particular bent where the Constitution's interpretation might take place? So one might be more liberal, one more conservative, and therefore makes the Constitution a living organism?
Yes, I guess is the short answer to your question. The president nominates people to the Supreme Court of the United States. He has to get the consent of the Senate. So the two bodies together have the authority to nominate people. The reason I was going to take Mr. Lawson to task a moment ago is his equation of the constitutional system with the Reagan administration. His quarrel is with the Reagan administration. The fact of the matter is that President Reagan has only nominated and had to receive the consent of the Senate to 2 members of the present United States Supreme Court, 2 out of 9. The system has a good deal of momentum, staying power that causes it to go on and function quite apart from the particular administration that's in office at any one time.
I want to thank you both for being with us today. We're going to hear a lot about the Constitution this year, and I must tell you that you have both made me really perk up my ears to see it not as a document just on paper, but to recognize that I and everyone out there has a lot to do with how that document is interpreted. Thanks for being with us, Mr. Lawson. Dean Bennett, thank you. And now Flip Spiceland is going to join us. We're going to take a look at the weather in just a second. Right now, let's see what's cooking with Bert Wolf.